Hey everybody, Grest here. So today we're going to talk about something that's very important but a lot of people do not think about, and that is muzzle alignment for your muzzle device to barrel, especially for suppressor use. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So muzzle alignment, specifically when dealing with a muzzle device, as you see here. So here you can see I have a 3-prong flash hider from Rugged Suppressor, and if you remember looking at my suppressor owners video series, you'll see that I did mention about muzzle alignment a little bit in that, but let's go a little bit deeper. I did find a product recently that is more accurate, if you will, for muzzle alignment, and I can't take credit for finding it. Actually, it's my buddy, it's Miller Time. Check him out. He's got a YouTube channel and also is heavily involved over at Instagram. But as you can see here, when you add a muzzle device, especially if it's a brake or something that you want to time correctly, you're going to have to add a series of shims in order to time it, because as you clock this thing down and tighten it, it may go past the point of where you want it to go. So just for example's sake, let's take a look at this 3-prong flashlight hider from Brownells. This is actually off of one of our BRN 180s. So as you can see here, it's a 3-port flash hider, and it's not the same all the way around. So essentially you want to make sure that the flat part is facing downward, and then the port at the top and the 9 and 3 o'clock position. Okay, so but when you tighten this thing down, okay, so we can see our gas port right there. If we follow it, you can see that, look, it's not 100% aligned. So that's why we use a series of washers. Now, if you're not using a suppressor attachment, using something like a crush washer is really probably the easiest way to go. If you don't know what a crush washer is, it's a standard washer used on the end of an AR-15 barrel. And it looks like this, and the idea is that you put it on here and then you torque down your muzzle device to whatever torque that you're looking at there, and you can clock it to show the ports the way they're supposed to. And the crush washer will, and as the name implies, will kind of crush to allow you to torque that up. The problem with crush washers, though, in regards to muzzle devices, is that these do not help to align the port on the muzzle device with the barrel hole that the projectile comes out. So, and what can happen is if you have a little bit of shift, you can potentially strike the end of your muzzle attachment, or in the case of a suppressor that hangs longer out on the barrel, you can actually damage the inside of your suppressor. So that's why muzzle device alignment and timing is very crucial on a suppressor. So on a normal muzzle attachment, it's not quite as critical because you get very little space after the bullet exits the barrel that it can hit something, and most muzzle attachments like this have a little bit of clearancing. Okay, so they're not as tight as the bore of the barrel. However, with a suppressor is sticking out on the barrel quite a, up to 10-11 inches out, and so there's a lot of time for that projectile to strike maybe a baffle or end cap on the suppressor. So the product that I have here to help us is actually from Precision Armament, and they have a series of different washers that you can utilize to help your muzzle device alignment. Most of your muzzle attachments from a suppressor manufacturer is going to come with a series of different size thicknesses shims, and these are okay to use. I have a lot of muzzle devices that have these on there, but honestly, a lot of times they're made at a very wide diameter and they kind of flex and shift around and stuff like that. So not really ideal in my opinion. With the AccuWasher system from Precision Armament, all right, this is an alignment system. They have two different diameters, one for 1/2 by 28, one for 5/8 by 24 threads per inch, and they give us the different model numbers are AWS 500 for the 1/2 by 28, AWS 625 for the 5/8 by 24. You have a sizing chart on the back. Okay, so they tell you how many degrees you need, and then shims actually have marks on the side of them, which is really ingenious. That's one of the problems that I have with the little washers, the shims that come with a muzzle device for suppressors. Typically they don't have any markings on them, so it's just a guessing game to see which combination that you need to get the alignment proper. So let's go ahead and take a look at the washers themselves. So here is the washers, and you can see that different size washers have different markings on them. Very helpful in determining which combination you need. Okay, so there's a washer with 2 marks, and you can see already, hopefully you can pick it up on camera, that this is 2 different thicknesses. So the idea is that you should only have to use one of these washers to time your muzzle device exactly the way you need it to time. You should not need to add a stack of these things. Okay, so they give you all the ones that you might need for your muzzle device. So they say locate the thickest number 18 shim marked with 3 big dashes and 3 little ones. Make sure all contact surfaces on the shim, thread, shoulder, and muzzle device are clean and free of debris. Seat number 18 shim over muzzle threads and install muzzle device. Sight down the barrel and visually estimate the amount of additional rotation required for the proper muzzle device alignment. Refer to the chart on the right to select the correct sized shim. Okay, so here you can see after using that first one, number 18, they tell you, okay, if you need an additional amount of rotation, and they give it in 20-degree increments, which is pretty tight. Remove the number 18 shim and install the shim selected in step number 3. Torque the muzzle device to correct alignment. Note device will rotate additional 10 to 30 degrees from hand tight position depending on the tightening and torque. If excessive torque is required for alignment, use one number smaller. If torque is too low, use one number larger. And then they even talk about if you apply grease, it's going to give changes. So let's go ahead and take a look at this on my barrel here. So I'm going to throw this guy on there. So I have the one that they told us to select, and then I'm going to take my muzzle device here and just kind of see how it. So I am about 180 degrees out. Now if I look at my chart on this, if I need to go 180 degrees, that means I need to go to the shim number 10, which is 2 thick marks on there. There's one with 3 thick marks, and this one has 2. So let's see what this looks like. This is probably not the best muzzle device to be using for this particular purpose, but I think you guys will get the idea. Okay, so there's that one, and actually it looks like it's a little further than I would like, so I can always back it up, which would be a little thicker. So looks like the 2 thick dashes with the 1 small one. Alright, so I located that one. Took me a little while. Of course, it was the last one I picked up. Alright. So I ended up having to go with the 140, which is the number 12, too thick, too thin. And that gives me an alignment at a point where now I can torque it on here and add my rock set or what have you. So always a good idea to put some sort of thread locker on there. In my opinion, I know there's varying thoughts on that, but if you put a little bit of rock set on there, rock set is actually water soluble, so you can take it off fairly easy. I've never had a problem removing something that's been rock set on. Red Loctite, now that's a different story. That can get you into some problems. But anyways, you kind of get the idea here. You just kind of select your different shim size to get the alignment that you need, or the clocking of the muzzle device that you need, and then kind of go from there. So very cool system. I'm very impressed with it. Makes life a lot easier, because many times I'm spending 15 minutes going through and stacking the different shims together to get what I not want. And the other nice thing about this is that it just looks cool. So a lot of times when you put all the shims on there, when you torque it down, they'll shift, and then you'll see the shims kind of hanging out one way or the other. So this actually is a much cleaner installation. All right, so that's all I got for you today. If you're looking for something like this, definitely check out my friends over at Brownells. Use my link tree down below and go over there. The channel does get a little bit of a kickback from that, so much appreciated. Have any of you guys used the AccuWasher system before? So definitely comment down below, let me know what you think. Okay, so I appreciate everybody watching today's video on these AccuWashers from Precision Armament for your muzzle device, specifically used for suppressor attachment. Any questions or comments, please put those down below. As always, you can pick up this product as well as some others over at my friends over at Brownells, so definitely check out my link tree in the description and head over to Brownells and pick yourself up some AccuWashers or other parts, accessories you may need. And I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and I will catch you all in the next video. Y'all take it easy.